My name is Kiko. I am a returning senior and I am on a worship team.
Hi, I'm Sydney. I am a senior at VCU and I'm on large group team. Today, we're going to be diving into 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 9. Kiko and I have been looking at this verse all week. We wanted to share some of our thoughts with you today. Let me just open up my notebook here. So let's dive into it. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 9. Offer hospitality to one another without grumbling.
And what's really cool about this verse was in the Greek, hospitality translates to philoxenos, which means loving strangers. We saw last week how to we're called to love one another with Abby and Victoria. Hospitality is also an act of love. We're called to love one another, so we're called to do good and share with others because it's pleasing to God. And in that way, hospitality can take many different forms.
Yeah, I think for me personally, when I think of hospitality, I think of the hostess with the mostest, with fancy little dinner plates and little cups, and a clean house and lots of food. I think more practically, an example for right now is, a lot of college students buy each other coffee. That's a small act of hospitality. For me personally, I think my favorite act of hospitality is definitely baking cookies for my friends and especially for my small group. I love baking sweets and bringing them to my friends because I think the idea of bonding over food is super important. But unfortunately, during the current pandemic, the way we look at hospitality has to change. I can't bake cookies anymore. The hostess with the mostest can't throw big dinner parties. So we have to think of examples of hospitality beyond that idea.
One of the things that my brother and I do is whenever he goes to the grocery store, because he and I are so far apart now, in distance, one of us will call the other so that we have that sense of going to the grocery store with somebody even though you're not physically there. And we'll even try to sync up our grocery trips so that we have that somebody to go with when we're going through the aisles. Other things that we've seen, especially during the pandemic, are care packages and grocery shoppings for those who can't get out. Walking the dogs of workers who don't have the time anymore. Zoom and FaceTime and other social media have been super important to build that relationship that you have with other people. Spend time in community, and even just things that you can do to encourage others, acts of hospitality that way to encourage.
Yeah, I really like those examples a lot. I think the biggest issue or the biggest question that we had about hospitality is what is hospitality in the Christian sense. Kiko and I really like the story of Mary and Martha in the Bible. In this story, Jesus is invited into the home of Martha, and Martha sort of adopts this hostess with the mostest mentality. She's making sure the house is clean. She's cooking for everyone, and instead Mary sits at the feet of Jesus and listens to him talk. Martha is sort of frustrated with Mary. Why is she not helping with the cooking and the cleaning and contributing to that? But if you look at Luke chapter 10, verses 41 through 42, you sort of see what Jesus tells Martha. He says to her, "You are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." I think it's important for us to recognize as Christians that hospitality isn't necessarily about the many things of being a hostess. It's not about the food. It's not about the presentation. It's not about the little fancy glasses. It's about living in the example of Jesus and expressing our love to one another through acts of love. Hospitality isn't important because of the materials. It's important because of the people. The idea of hospitality and expressing your love for one another fosters a relationship. Just because I can't see the people that I love because of quarantine doesn't mean that I love them any less. Instead, I just have to figure out new ways to express my love to them. And that's definitely a challenge, but I think one that we should look forward to.
And that's kind of what we wanted to do for this week. The challenge was to challenge you all to do express your love in a different way. One of the things that Sydney and I really liked was writing a letter to loved ones. I don't know if you know, but like it's really fun to get things in the mail, especially when you don't expect it. When you were little and like now, it's kind of like a little present. So we thought maybe this week, if you wanted to write a letter or a note to somebody, to encourage and help others that way. I'm so sorry. It doesn't have to be a physical letter. You could probably just take a picture of something and send it to somebody else, or even just text them words of encouragement, words of love and kindness. And if you wanted to share your experience, you could share that on the IB Facebook or the Instagram.
Yeah, I really like that challenge, Kiko. Expect a letter from me in the
Thank you.
mail. And maybe one of you guys should expect a letter from me in the mail soon.
Definitely gonna do that too.
Well, thanks so much for joining us this week, guys. Best of luck with your challenge. Bye!